Uniforms are important. Could you imagine, going to a wedding and not wearing the right thing, especially if the bride wasn't wearing the bridal gown? Or maybe the opposite's true too. It's like when you wear the wrong uniform, you're going to get ridiculed. My Uncle Greg and I, we went to high school at Central Catholic, and he used to wear his Central Catholic jersey, and then make it even worse, he'd get a hockey stick and put a Viking on the top of it, and then go to the opposite side of the field and just cheer in their faces. He caused all kinds of fun things to happen at that point, especially since Woodland Hills was our arch rival, and he was actually dating one of the cheerleaders from there. So it just made it a lot of fun when you went to games like that. Uniforms can cause all kinds of questioning and all kinds of passion. Well, the one time we went to a game, it was the Penguins against Boston, and we wore Penguin uniforms. We also bought a broom because we were playing the fourth game of the playoffs against them, and we ended up sweeping them in Boston. And as we left, we got showered with beer and nachos and all kinds of liquids that shouldn't be talked about at Mass. But the uniforms provoke something. They invoke something. There's this rabbinic tale that goes that the king entrusted to his servants royal robes. Those who were wise took the robes and carefully stored them away and kept them until the pristine loveliness would be preserved. Those who were foolish wore their robes to work and soiled them and stained them. The day came when the king demanded the robes back. The wise handed them back, fresh and clean, so the king laid up the robes in his treasury and bade them to go in peace. The foolish handed them back, stained and soiled. The king commanded that the robes be given to the fuller to be cleansed, and the foolish servants be cast into prison. A parable that teaches a man he must hand back to his soul to God in all its original purity. But that man who has nothing but has stained the soil to render back stands condemned. It's part of the teaching around Jesus' time. The importance of recognizing that the most important uniform we get is at our baptism, where we get to don the jersey of Team Jesus, where that saying is so true that the name of our last name on the back of the jersey is not nearly as important as the name that's on the front, Team Jesus. So it's good for us to ask ourselves today, we've been invited, but will we be chosen? We've been invited to be baptized, which we are. We've been invited to live as Christians. But are we those chosen ones that we allow the Lord to do with us what we want, so as to be a part of that amazing gift of grace, which is to be a part of the saints? I think everybody needs an Uncle Greg. Today, my Uncle Greg turns 50. He's just a couple years older than me. And one of the things that he continues to show me is the way in which our faith takes courage to live, to really don the uniform, even if it means going into enemy-occupied territory, which is basically like walking outside of our church grounds today, and still proudly living our faith and recognizing the courage it takes to wear the uniform of Team Jesus in a world that just wants to ridicule and tear down the faith of our Christian lives. Let us have the courage today to wear our uniforms and thus know that we're not just invited, but we're chosen to be saints.